Welcome to episode 76 of Jez and Friends podcast. Today's special guest of the podcast is Zacca Newman, who's been at Melbourne Uni for 10 or so years and also a co-founder of Run2PB online coaching. Zacca has a wealth of experience in distance running. His PBs are 30, 25 and a 10k, 66 and a half and 225 in the marathon. How's it going, mate?
Good to be on. Yeah, great, mate. It's great to catch up. Been a bit of a fan of this show, mate. Enjoying what you're doing. So humbled to be on the podcast.
No, I'm humbled to have you on as well. I've been listening to a few of the recent episodes with Chris, the new co-host you've been talking about. And yeah, we're talking about Stole Gift earlier. Do you want to quickly touch on your journey for Stole Gift, the 2 miler in 2008 or 9?
Yeah, it was funny. We were just talking off air about Brady Throlful, my one of the co-founders of Run2PB and a good mate of mine. And yeah, my phone has been blowing up since he won Stall because he hasn't stopped talking about his win. I didn't win the Herb Hedeman. I won the 2 mile there. And I was just, I had taken a little bit of a break from running and just off the back of coming back from the US in college, and then just had some downtime from running, and then started getting back into the sport. And pro running or handicap running is they call it professional running, but handicap running here in Victoria is it's a pretty fun social scene. And then there's some good races like the Stall Gift, and I joined up with the Hitworth squad, Mark Hitworth, who's a
old Tabs, right?
He's involved in old Tabs.
I've raced him.
He's unbelievable athlete still to this age. I'm not going to guess his age, but he is old, but he's still fast. And Mark actually coached Alex Rowe for a bit early on, and then he went over to JR. But I was in his group, the Hitworth squad, and made some great friends there, and managed to go to Stall a couple of times, and got the win in the 2 mile. Trying to remember what year it was. My COVID brain's still hazy over years, and I'm just trying to work out what's,
that's all right.
2020 to 2022, let alone 10, 12 years ago. But it was a fun experience still.
And with Stall, I heard Brady and the boys from RIP talking about it, but you can't look behind you, so you kind of have to run, run scared essentially. So what's that feeling like, mate?
Yeah, it's definitely unique running scene, the rules and the traditions around it. And part of the system, I guess, is so that everyone runs, if the handicap gets it right, everyone should finish at the same time, finish at the end together, so to make it exciting racing. So I guess the theory around not looking around and easing up is why you can't do that. And it is definitely different. You do run scared. I think I was towards the back in that race, so I was sort of running down people, but it's like no other Stall. I think the fact that it's on the TV, and I think you get a lot of it's funny because you do some pretty cool things in running in the club scene, and some of your achievements maybe just in an XCR finishing say a top 10 or on the podium there. You get more kudos from your mates at school who may have heard about you doing something at Stall, and you just think, I kind of wish they knew more about other things you've achieved, but you take what you can get.
100%. And obviously going back to your running journey now, I guess starting from early high school, do you want to talk us through running college, and maybe did you initially start off with middle distance running, then build towards distance running? Is that how it worked, or?
A little bit. I mean, I never did little athletics, so I was always cricket and football. But when you're small and you don't really hold your own in football when you get a little bit older. So once you get to 12, 13, I mean, you can run, but you can't really get near the ball without getting crunched. So
that's me right now, mate. I'm playing footy still, and I'm getting crunched.
So I loved cricket. I played a lot of cricket growing up from prep onwards and right through to year 12 actually. And but running started to come into my life when I was sort of 15, 16. I was fortunate enough to go to Yarra Valley Grammar School out in the east, and school sport was compulsory there, so you had to do Saturday sport. And yeah, in summer I played cricket, and then winter cross country. I was playing soccer early, and then one of the soccer coaches, the cross country coach, saw me playing soccer and was basically said, "Oh, I think you should come over and run cross country next year." So, and I was just hanging into the A side in soccer, so I thought, oh, maybe I'll go to cross country, give it a go, and yeah, took off from there. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I sort of found, I think, with running and something that I love about the sport now is that whilst doing team sports is fun, and you get that experience within a team and that team environment, getting the results for something you put in terms of your own running and your own training, that's pretty fulfilling and pretty satisfying, I think. And I found that when I started the sport in school and doing a little bit of extra training, I sort of noticed, I'm in the top, I think early on I was finishing top 40 or something in the school cross country. And then each year I thought, I do a little bit more extra, I might get top 20, top 10. And yeah, it sort of took off from there. But no, and sorry, I missed your question about middle distance running. No, I did 8s and 15s at high school, but I wasn't very good. I always was leaning towards the longer cross country stuff.
Fair enough. And what about your college experience? Like, what was that like? Obviously, like the dynamics of it. So that was in the US, right? Do you want to touch on like how that system worked for you?
Yeah, so I guess, I mean, I wasn't recruited heavily, and it was quite different back then. I'm probably showing my age now because it was 20 plus years ago. Oh, yeah, about 20 years ago. And yeah, kids, I mean, people were still going to college then, and there was talk about it. So when I finished high school, I ran the all schools. I went up to Darwin and ran that as in year 12 and finished top 10. I'd won the AGSV cross country. So I was doing well. I was sort of holding my own in high school level. And I think I ran 15, 17 for 5K in year 12. And it wasn't outstanding, but it was enough to sort of show to garner a little bit of interest from some schools. And in the end, I'd heard through a couple of other friends who had sort of gone over there or approached school. So I actually just started emailing a few coaches directly, and got some offers, got a couple of D1 school offers, but they weren't in great locations like Alabama, Louisiana, New Orleans. And I just ended up landing, back then it was actually things were going by post. It wasn't, well, there was emails, but you'd actually get these things in the post. You'd get prospectus, and they were sending over, some club college uniforms and trying to sort of get you to come on board. And by all means, I wasn't, getting hit up by Oregon or Penn or any of the big schools, but they were good D2 school, like bottom level D1 schools or good D2 schools. And I ended up going to a Division 2 school in West Virginia in Salem University. And had a good conversation on the phone with the coach, and decided to head over there. And it was an awesome experience. I was living in the eastern suburbs in Croydon as a 20-year-old, and then to go over to the US, to West Virginia, land in New York, spend some time in New York, and then get picked up after getting on a bus from New York to West Virginia, and picked up the coach and into the dorms. And it was a whole new world for me. I hadn't traveled over. I'd been to New Zealand. I don't know if that counts beforehand. And first time I was really overseas, and it was awesome. The professionalism back then, we're talking 20 years ago, we had unbelievable gym, ice baths, unlimited food, drink. You go in and you train. Basically, you're trained, and then you could go into the cafeteria. And as an athlete, to be honest. School class wasn't a priority. You're basically you tick off training, go hang out in the cafeteria, eat as much food as you wanted, drink as much as you wanted, talk trash with your training mates, maybe do a couple of hours of class, have a bit of a nap, and then go and run again. So it was a pretty good lifestyle.
It sounded pretty fun, mate.
It was fun, and but what you're seeing now over, like, it's, the game's changed a lot over there. It's like so many Aussies that are absolutely crushing it over there and doing really well.
Yeah, especially on Athletics Club. I know you've jumped on a bandwagon, haven't you, with the On Cloud shoes?
Yeah, I have. A good mate of mine, Luke Bell, who's working with On, has converted me over, and yeah, I love what they're doing On, and I think Australia's going to see a lot more of On in the future.
100%. And obviously with your running, Zacca, like as you said, with going to West Virginia, it's also also taking you places such as like New York and Japan for like the marathons. So I guess talk us through your proudest running achievements.
Yeah, you're right. Like, moving to the marathons, and as I got older, like, I always wanted to do the marathon, and I did my first one in Melbourne in 2013. Yeah, debuted in 2013 and did Melbourne, and then I always sort of wanted to tick the box of going to, say, a major. So I ended up going and doing London, and I've done Chicago, and then the Lake Biwa marathon, which is quite a prestigious marathon over in Japan. And I was lucky enough to go over there 3 times and ran my PB there of 2:25:01. And yeah, that's probably up there with one of my most proudest achievements. That, and also, I guess, winning a Victorian championship in the half marathon at Burnley. That's where I ran my half marathon PB. So yeah, they're probably the achievements. And I guess, yeah, going back to getting that chance to travel and race, it's all the things around that as well. Like, you travel over there with some mates, and you get to go to Chicago with a good mate of mine, Matt Davey, and Josh Papa, and yeah, we were training buddies. We built up for that race, and obviously spent some time in the lead up. We had okay days at Chicago, but then we traveled around New York, and just sort of had some fun after. So it's all the things around it as well that you sort of remember, not just the running side of it.
Yeah, it's also the traveling side, and I believe you've been to a few locations. I had a quick look. Are you an Arsenal fan, mate? So
I am, yeah.
yeah.
I'm not a huge. I'll confess, I'm not a huge fan. I just jumped on the bandwagon because my brother-in-law, well, I was staying with my sister and them in London, and he took me to a game. But I was supporting them before, only because I think I used to pick them in FIFA, and then that's why I ended up being an Arsenal fan. And yeah, it was pretty cool to go tick that off the bucket list.
That's pretty cool, mate. Yeah, obviously, like running's important, but it's also like taking in the scenery as well, like with New York and like there's sightseeing as well. So no, it's really good, mate. Um, I guess I wanted to talk about Run2PB now because obviously I spoke to Brady about it, and like you guys have obviously established something very successful. And I guess online coaching has evolved over the past couple of years with obviously Pulse Running and the other like online coaching businesses. So do you want to talk us through how you began that and how it's going now?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's been awesome to see online running coaching uh, explode, I think, in the last few years. And even look, it's been around for a while. People were getting coached by correspondence for a while. There was people were actually getting coached via mail, getting programs sent by mail. And then as technology got better, and there's the advent of, say, your Training Peaks, Final Surge, and websites, and the way we're connected now has now allowed online coaching to become a lot more streamlined. And I think with regards to Run2PB, we started in 2017, and yeah, it was really a case of Matt Davey, myself, and Brady. We're all and Gemma Maney, Matt's partner. We're all actually getting hit up and coaching friends and friends of friends, and we were kind of doing it within like spreadsheets, or we were doing it via Messenger, and we were just sort of were helping out people, but we hadn't really streamlined that and really monetized it, because whilst it was fine doing it for a few mates, it becomes a bit challenging when you have to kind of I guess keep consistent with it and keep up to date, and you just thought, well, hang on, why don't we actually pull all our resources together and actually create something that we can give back to the community? And then we sort of had a bit more of a chat and thought, well, there's actually a gap in the market here, because we'd seen the rise of parkrun. We also seen that there was just this disconnect between like your clubs. I've been a member of an athletics club since I was 17, and I just noticed that it was quite intimidating to come into the club scene, and there was a lot of rec runners, there was a lot of people running around the town, a lot of people going to park run, but they just didn't get the opportunity to then sort of improve their running because there wasn't anywhere to really go. And I sort of thought, well, online coaching is a good option to give people a chance to maybe get more structure and a personalized approach. And yeah, that's where Run2PB came in. And the other side of it was I'd sort of been running with a lot of elite and semi, and I never got to the top end, but athletes that had been to the Olympics, or they were trying to get to the Olympics, and the struggle they had to financially sort of fund themselves to do that. Like, a lot of people don't realize that some of our top athletes are working a few jobs a week, a few jobs, and grinding away to sort of fund that career. And I thought, well, why not this could be an opportunity that those runners who have so much experience and knowledge can actually connect with the running community and give back to give that out, fund a bit of their training through, whether it pays for a training camp, whether it helps pay for shoes or whatever. And so when we started, we had the four of us, and we've got 18 coaches now, and some of those are national representatives and on the rise. Your Andy Buchanan's, James Hansen, Madeline Heiner, who now was an Olympian, who's now just loves giving back to the sport. So I think we're really proud that we've been able to sort of help the running community, but also help some of the elite runners coming through.
100%. And you also do middle distance now, yeah, because you got Isaac on board. So that's pretty
Yes,
interesting.
we have got Isaac. Yeah, you got to have that Melbourne Uni connection in there. But no, Isaac's great. He's as you know, with Isaac, and you've had him on the show, he's a smart cookie, and his training philosophies are really, really good, and fast guy. So if you want a fast 1500 guy to coach you, he's your man.
Yeah, I think I need to hit him up, Zacca. I think that's the way to go. Nah, great chat about Run2PB, mate. And I see you got the Pillar Performance water bottle there, but good segue. You're an ambassador for them. And recently I got into, like more recovery side, like sports nutrition is obviously really important. I guess us teenagers have too much Maccas and all that sometimes, and it doesn't work in our favour. But tell us, like, the products they offer and the importance of, sports nutrition and recovery.
Yeah, Pillars. I think it was about a year ago, we were connected with Pillar, and Damien Fitzpatrick, who's the CEO. He was an ex-rugby player. He actually had sort of developed this range of supplements, like micronutritional, basically, which is really dialing into products that help with your joints. And he'd had some knee issues, and he sort of saw a gap in the market in the running and the tri space that we probably were as runners probably neglecting this side of things. And I think there was, some other products, the mass market ones that are in the chemist, your Swiss and those sort of multivitamins, whereas these are more developed around, specifically around runners and triathletes and those sort of the real, I think some of those products you get off the shelves, like your fish oils and things like that, are mainly sort of used for like old people who have joint issues or, like tennis elbow or go to lawn bowls, things like that. Whereas these, like their magnesium product is a triple magnesium. So they're like absolutely loaded. And because they just know that this is geared towards your elite or semi-elite or runners that are serious runners. They're not your Joe joggers. I mean, they're people that are serious about their running. And yeah, it's been good, being on the journey with them, because they've been really supportive of, they're obviously getting behind a lot of athletes here. And I think they've just, their range is going from strength to strength. They're now a partner of the Ironman Oceania series. They've signed some big names in the tri world. They've got, a lot of runners on board, and I've been really impressed with it. It's like, I think, they had a big signing with Jan Frodeno, the triathlete. So that's a pretty big win for them. So I think they're doing really good things in the sport. But the magnesium, and there's a motion armor product that's been using as well, just for my joints and shot, Jezza.
Yeah, that's really important. And I guess, magnesium and all that factors in the recovery and, like, enhances recovery. So that's really important for those looking to improve their times, essentially, and those semi-elite runners. Some don't even take in sports nutrition, which I find quite, astounding anyway. Like, as a distance runner for you, everyone trains differently. So do you want to maybe touch on your training week and, like, what your workouts look like, favorite workouts, least favorite workouts?
At the moment, like in a marathon load, and it's sort of the last few years I've been gearing up towards marathons, and I had a crack at Melbourne. Didn't actually go to plan. I ran 2:31. I was hoping to run low 2:20s, but that's the marathon. It's a beast, and if it doesn't go right, it goes pear shaped. And regular in those sort of weeks, I'm probably averaging 140K weeks. But now I'm kind of I'm building up for XCR, so the cross country season, and probably more geared towards 10K to half marathon. And typically I'm not a big mileage guy. I sit around 100Ks a week. I don't typically double unless I'm in a marathon load. Maybe the odd one here or there, but I try to work off 2 workouts a week now. I used to go 3, but as I'm getting older, I just feel like I need the more recovery. So I can probably hit 2 workouts, closer to 8 plus workouts, as opposed to trying to get 3 in and just having a couple of B plus season there. So I'd rather just hit the two workouts. And but I mean, when I coach as well, I kind of really go on the philosophy of just week on week. So it's no real secret sessions. It's just consistency, and it's not that exciting. Like, there's a lot of easy running, a lot of 60-minute runs, an easy 60 on a Monday. Tuesday's a workout. I've actually been doing workouts lately with Maxi Ueda group down at Melbourne Uni.
Shout out Max.
Big shout out to Maxi, and that's been fun. It's been really good bunch of uni athletes, and we've got a really strong culture there. Like, I think the way that Max has been able to pull a number of athletes from different areas in one spot, being like 1K reps or 2K reps, and all on the track. We'll start to go out to Princess Park, but essentially 20 to 30 minutes work. And then Wednesday, sort of a 70-minute run. As I get out a little bit longer towards, say, half marathon training, that might go to 80 minutes. Um, Thursdays, another easy run, just maybe an hour. Fridays, a recovery, 40 minutes to 45 minutes. And then Saturdays, a workout. I'm kind of either a threshold or I've been linked up with Dane Burway's group the other week and just sort of mix it up. But essentially, another 20 to 30-minute workout. And then Sundays, long run day, which I think is super important. It's probably I still think even as a 10, in the 10K half marathon phase, I still think it's the most important run of the week in terms of binding everything together. Like just, you've done the 2 workouts through the week, all the other runs, and then you finish off with a good long run. That's the key. So, that's probably the week there.
Yeah, long runs are very important. For me, I'm not a fan of long runs, so it's always challenging. But probably for you guys,
Yeah.
you enjoy it a lot more.
You have to come out to the Yarra Flats and
Oh,
join us for a run.
I've seen a few of them. They look pretty grueling, mate. Yeah. Um. Anyway, I wanted to quickly touch on, the Melbourne Uni environment. Like, what is it about like the training we do that's, I guess, positive? Like everyone's always pushing each other. I see, like, obviously your group now, you recruited a few of the people from, Ellie's group, who I run with and all that. So, how does that work?
Yeah, it's I mean the club I actually joined in 2010, so I've been there for 12, what's that, 10, 12 years. And yeah, just over the journey, I've always enjoyed, I think Melbourne Uni's got a really strong social setting as well. And I think that's super important in this sport because it's not easy running. Like it's a lot of training and there's a lot of Ks. There's a lot of time where you can just, there's a lot of other things you'd like to be doing when it's, wet outside and cold and wet and you have to drag yourself out the door. And I think having that group environment and Melbourne Uni, the athletics club and the way that the different groups are set up, whether it's Tony's group, Ali's, and Max's, I think they all have that in common. There's a really good bond between all the athletes, and I think that's so important in terms of just getting everyone there. And there's some days you warm up and you're doing the warm up and you don't really feel like you can be bothered, but by the time you've finished that warm up, you've had a good chat and a laugh, you then get down to work and do the session. And I think that's that's really important to have in that environment. And yeah, I think that's what it's been built on. I think over the years I've been there, and you think back to legends like Tim Thomas, which was he was a stalwart of the club. Dave P, who I still run with, and I met him in my early days with the club, and still run with him to this day. And just the fact that the culture we've got around going to XCRs and getting around each other at those events, and we've had some pretty good years in Divi 1, and then you get that. You just get that effect that, people, when they train with each other and they see each other pushing, they just want to strive. And, you might have a goal to be in that Div 2 team and, you just keep showing up to training and eventually get there. And then next time you think, oh, maybe in 2 years, I might crack into the Div 1 team. So, having those different levels and athletes around that are all pushing each other, definitely that high performance environment definitely comes through.
100%, and I'm sure in a few years' time I'll be looking to bump up the distances and focus more on XCR. But at the moment, it's a track for me. No,
Are we going to see you at Gels, Jezza?
Oh, we'll see how it goes. Saturdays don't work too well at the moment because of footy, but I'm gonna try and pop a few cross countries this year for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Just quickly, besides running, what do you do in your spare time to, take your mind off running? Because sometimes you get too into running and it's all running.
Yeah, you're right. It's pretty consuming for me because obviously I'm still running a bit, like I said, 100 Ks, and then I've got coaching 20 odd athletes and running Run2PB, and then I also work with the Inside Running podcast, helping with those guys behind the scenes. So running does tend to take a bit of my time, but I do like to step away from that scene and I just hang out with mates and yeah, going out and chilling with them. And lately I've been playing a lot of golf. Golf's been a good outlet for me. I'm probably not getting any better the more I play, which is what should happen, but enjoying that. So yeah, and then yeah, just chill out and yeah, watching some TV. And yeah, obviously I work full time as well. So just between all those things, it's just no, it's good. I mean, I'm lucky I get to do, with Run2PB and inside running and podcasts and running with Melbourne Uni. I get to do a lot of the things that I love to do for most of the time.
100%. And with golf, I don't play it personally, but what's your handicap?
Oh, probably the clubs in the bags, my hand. Nah, um I don't actually have a handicap because I'm not a member of a club, but probably
Yeah.
about 16 would be about right. So yeah, I play with a good mate of mine. He's bloody good. He just makes it look easy. So yeah, I play with him and another mate, and we have some pretty good competitions in terms of just handicapping it and playing some skins and putting some various bets down. And yeah, it is fun. It's definitely fun, but I don't know. It's a frustrating game.
Yeah.
Like you can have a great day. You can be playing, really good for 4 holes, and then one bad shot leads to another, and your day's over. But it is, yeah, it's definitely good fun. Good recovery too. I've been doing it after a Sunday run, just a nice, 6K walk. Although the amount of times my ball goes, out off into the bushes, I end up walking a bit extra.
Oh, yeah. You're not climbing any trees, are you?
Yeah, maybe a few swims in the dam or chasing.
Oh, that's all right. Last running question for you before we move on to a funner segment. We love running, but gotta mix it up as well. So this one's a spotlight one. So back to the marathons. Obviously, typically most runners tend to do like 2 marathons a year or so. How do you pick which ones like you go for each and every year? Because obviously you reassess your goals and ambitions.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, traditionally, I've kind of gone with one around that start of the year, like a March, April marathon, and then that allows you to kind of start that build. In previous years, you'd start that build at Falls Creek, over December, Jan, and then you could sort of build up and then go again because you need about 3-4 weeks to come off that marathon and then start again. Then aim for say a September, October marathon. So I think picking those races where there's enough space to recover off them, but also then have a long build up, not too long. So it's a real big timing thing. Selecting them can be around, just to go to majors and go to other overseas marathons is kind of cool. It's nice to combine a marathon with a holiday. So yeah, definitely that space in between them is a key, and then factoring in the course conditions, what your goals are. So yeah, there's a bit that goes into selecting marathon. It's not something you can just do every week as well, like a park run.
Yeah. Oh, I used to do park runs every week, but I don't think it's sustainable at the moment. No, it's funny how training changes like as you develop as a runner. As you
Mm.
know, yeah. Um, Now we move on to music. I'm not sure what you listen to, Zacca, but everyone loves a pump up song or gets it rolling. But what genre of artists do you listen to, mate?
Yeah, it's a good one, mate. A bit of a mix. Like I don't mind like some shit. Like if I'm running, I don't mind a bit of like Tiesto or
Oh
some
yeah,
some
the business
some
one, right?
EDM to kind of get the pumping, get the blood pumping. Um, I quite like Radiohead and like Mumford and Sons, The National, like that sort of alternative, I guess, rock. But yeah, I'm a bit of a mixed bag with radio with music, mate.
That's good. I like a mixed bag. I like to mix it around myself as well. A bit of like Oasis, bit of
Yeah, nice.
EDM, like Marshmallow and all that. Kid Leroy. Yeah, just good mix, mate. That's all that matters. This one always catches people. So the money segment, I call it. Are there any funny stories from running life you want to share? I think Brady had a funny one about a money bag story. I'm not sure you heard of that, but
No, I haven't heard that one. Funny stories from running. Oh, some of them have just been probably traveling.
Hmm.
And I'm probably going to throw Dane Verway. Do you know Dane Verway? He's
Might have.
physiotherapist, 221 marathon, I reckon. He's going to correct me on that one. He's got a podcast, Run Culture. He's been the physio for the Australian cross country team and Australian para team and the Olympics. Ripping guy. I've run with him for years. He runs for Frankston, and we traveled a lot together. We traveled to Lake Biwa to do a marathon. And this guy is, if you want to go on tour with him, it's dangerous because he's hard pressed to get him to like turn up on time just for a normal run, let alone get him over to Japan. And he's a bit of a liability on a trip, and he I mean, to give you an idea, he tried to bring a yogurt maker on the, I think he ended up bringing it over on a trip to Japan. I don't know why, but he figured he packed like probably 40 kilos of stuff to get there and used about 10 of it. And then, we kind of lost him on a few times, lost him like getting on Japanese trains, and he didn't work out the conversion. So he was spending like a lot of money on food. He didn't realize it. He was very entertaining. But one other funny part of that is that on race day in Japan, they bus you out to the event. So the event starts at maybe weird. They actually started at 12:30 over there because it's streamed live. It's their biggest event. One of the biggest TV events, that Lake Biwa Marathon. It's watched by, we're talking tens of millions of people watch that race. They put it on at 12:30 p.m. So it's like a grand final type setup, commercial free. And you actually get bussed out to that event. Like, we're staying in the race hotel, and they get to the event at like 10 o'clock. Then you end up waiting around in a stadium. Anyway, we were, they look after you like unbelievable hospitality in Japan. And they bussed us out there 2 hours before the race. We had so much time to get ready. We'd been at the race hotel for 4 days. So, when you're getting ready for a marathon, you've got a lot of time on your hands. So that night, we all got our drinks out and we all got our kit out. We laid it all out. We packed our bags, went to sleep. We get up 10 o'clock to get out the door, get bussed over there. We get to the race, pull up, and Dane says, "Oh, guys," and he says we had a Japanese person that was looking after us, said, "Oh, guys, I've left my singlet with my race number back in the hotel." And me and Mattress just looked at each other, shook our heads, and gone, "It's like, of all the things you need to remember on a race day, this is probably the number one, your singlet with your race number." So he, and then, they're busking you out because they're closing the roads. Anyway, the poor Japanese lady that was looking after us, she had to sort of work her magic to get Dane back to the hotel to get his singlet. And he got back eventually, with a fair bit of time. But that was pretty amusing because to this day we still give Dano crap about that one.
That's pretty funny. A race fib out of everything. Like, it could have been, I don't know what else doing. Yeah, like
it's lucky he remembered his shoes, to be honest. But Dano's got a good sense of humor. He'll have a laugh at that. Maybe.
It's a good story. It's like us with like middle distance running. Like, I remember state champs. There was some kid before the race forgetting his like hip number like 2 minutes before race, and he had to scramble.
Yeah. Was that at Milo's club?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually think I had an athlete, one of my athletes running in that event, or someone I knew was running in that event, and there was some talk about that incident.
Oh, it might have been racing me then. Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. A few other ones for you, Zacca. So, what's a book or movie you recommend for the listeners?
Book or movie. There's a good running book called Endure. I don't know if you've read it.
Ooh.
Alex Hutchison. It's sort of about the mind of elite athletes and human performance. It's called Endure from Alex Hutchison. He was a writer for Runner's World. He's done some awesome sort of studies. There's a chapter on the sub 2 hour project on Kipchoge. It's a really good read for the running fans out there. And movies. I actually watched something the other night on KO 30 for 30 ESPN. This is a sports doco. So it's not really a popcorn type movie, but it's on the Shark, Greg Norman, continuing the golf thing. But it's really interesting on how good he was and what happened with his choking incidents in the Masters and some of those majors. But he was an icon of the sport. If you want to go back and check that out, Jezza, I think as a sports fan you'll enjoy that one.
100%. Might give it a look for sure. This one's called Quick Hands now. So 5 quick questions. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
No. English or maths back in school?
Oh yeah, definitely English.
Yeah, fair enough. Who's your favorite celebrity?
Favorite celebrity? Probably Brady Thelfel.
Brady Ralph. Yeah, you have to say that after.
If I don't follow, I don't know. I don't actually follow. I don't follow your celebrities, your Kardashian.
Yeah, probably be Kipchoge for you, I reckon.
Running podcast, and I think I reckon he's a celebrity. He should be in a celebrity category.
Where's your favorite place to visit in the whole world?
I actually go with London. I think London's awesome. I've been to London a few times, and go with London. But in terms of just more of a holiday, beachy type decision, Thailand's pretty fun. And Southeast Asia, Sri Lanka. Too many.
No, that's good. And last one for quick hands. I don't know how much you use your phone, but what's the most used app on your phone?
It could be. It's probably Strava, because I obviously post on there. I've got a lot of mates on there, and also between Strava and Final Surge, because we coach via Final Surge. But then Instagram is probably right up there. Unfortunately, probably shouldn't spend so much time on there.
I get how it feels, mate. It's always set limits, but like I always ask for more time, like the screen limit app, whatever it's called. But it's bad, Zacca. It's bad.
It is bad.
Anyway, a few more. So, what's the best piece of advice someone has ever given you?
I was coached by Craig Mottram for a while, and
wow.
He had some unbelievable advice over the journey, and I read my best under Craig, and I think there was the key takeaway from him was probably just patience. Like he was always about just that week on, not pushing on those easy days, and I think that overarching sort of patience thing and self-belief was something I got from Craig. And you could see why and how he made it to the top, because he was just unbelievable in his mindset. I think I don't have direct quotes, but I think
Patience,
his patience, in terms of running and even life is really really good.
Yeah, and it's funny who people look up to, because I was speaking to like people growing up in the 90s, 2000s, and their running like idol was obviously Craig, and it was like Craig was like the main feature, and now like we're moving on to like, I don't know, like Stewie and Pete Bowl and all that, and other distance runners. But yeah,
Mm.
it's funny how back then Craig, like took it up to the Kenyans and all that, and worked so
Mm.
hard to do that.
Yeah, and look, another thing that and I didn't, I've had this from a few people over time, and I think it's a good one in everything, in whether it's business, work, life, running, is about doing the small things well. So, because if you can't do the small things well, you can't do the big things well. So, it's a learning curve, but like, yeah, just being able to, not slack off when there's, small things that maybe you think aren't that important. But if you don't think they're important, how are you going to do those big things when they come up? Well, so I think that's a pretty good philosophy I try to live by as well.
Love that, mate. And final question for you for today's episode. What's next for you in 2022 and beyond? Like, what are your top three goals? Could be.
Yeah, well, trying to get fit and trying to make that Div 1 team for Melbourne Uni. But I used to feel like I was maybe a shoe in to get selected. But these days there's so much depth, so that's one of the goals, is to maybe try and crack into that Div 1 team for me at least one round this year. That could be a challenge. So yeah, it definitely is to get fit and try and I'm going to do Gold Coast 10K. So a goal there is to try and break 31, 30, 32 minutes. Under 32 minutes would be great, but I think realistically, if I can aim for 31:30, I'd be really stoked with that. Yeah, another goal is to grow Run2PB, just to keep doing what we're doing, and giving back to the community, building that community, getting more involved with people from all over in terms of wanting people to run. I guess that's our underlying philosophy around the podcast. We call it Better with Running, because we as runners, lifelong runners, myself, Brady, Mattress, everyone at Run2PB know that life is better with running. So that's sort of what our objective is, to get more people involved in running.
Oh, that's awesome, mate. Thank you so much for the chat. I've learned a lot today from, your college days, Run2PB, Pillar Performance. The list goes on, and I'm sure we're going to catch up plenty more times at Melbourne Uni, and hopefully hit up a few cross-country races with you and most of the groups. So, should be good, mate.
Yeah, mate. Looking forward to it, and maybe looking forward to seeing you out at the Yarra Flats or out at
Oh.
Gels, if we can get you off the footy field.
Yeah, cheers for that.